This video is sponsored by Botan Store, Channel Fireball, PokemonCard.io, and Card Market. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here at Tablemon. You'll see that I don't have my green screen propped up. I'm making some changes here to the office, which should be back by tomorrow. Mostly it's not up right now because I had to take it down and then I hurt my leg playing soccer, so I didn't have the energy to put it up today. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the unofficial World Championship tournament that was held this past weekend, the Pokemon Online Global 2021, just like last year, 2020. It did take place this weekend. I did not participate myself since I had other prior commitments on Saturday that I needed to tend to, family stuff mostly. It was unfortunate that the timing didn't work out. Last year I did get top 8 at the Pokemon Online Global Tournament, so would have been nice to play in it again, but alas, that was not a possibility. However, it's pretty impressive to see Koichi, I believe is the name of the Japanese player. He won the Limitless Online Tournament. He won Pokemon Online Global today. So that's really impressive. And he did so with a Suicune plus Ice Rider based deck. You have Suicune V with the ability Fleet-Footed. If this Pokemon is in the active, you may draw a card. And then Blizzard Rondo does 20 damage plus 20 more for each benched Pokemon. Obviously, we benefit from having a ton of benched Pokemon by having the Inteleon line as backup, and then we have the Ice Rider for even more damage, more HP with Ride of the High King doing 10 damage plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so similar to Suicune, but then Max Lance doing guaranteed up to 250 damage. And then we also have obviously the damage from Quick Shooting ability, which is really nice. You may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. That can be a nice way to round off the damage. We do have Mew to protect from Rapid Strike Urshifu, though I don't think it was too popular at the time. Obviously, it's still always a threat. And one Crobat to help support the Drizzles and Inteleon. So now, the big thing happening now, this weekend was the last weekend before rotation. Rotation is happening this Friday, so Sword and Shield onwards is finally happening. And that means this deck loses 5 cards, one of which is Mew, 2 of which are reset stamps, and then 2 Pokemon communication. So consistency-wise, the loss of Pokemon communication can definitely be made up for by adding a 3rd Evolution Incense and then potentially a 3rd Quick Ball. I'd imagine Quick Ball is ideal as it can search for Ice Rider, Drizzle, Suicune, and Crobat, whereas Levelball can only search for Drizzle, and now we have an extra way to search, Sobble. Levelball can search for Sobble or Drizzle, Incense can search for Drizzle, so we have an extra, instead of 2 Pokecom which can search for anything, an extra way to search for Basic and an extra way to search for an Evolution, so that seems like a good enough middle ground, right? Of course, there's nothing to replace Mew in the deck, there's nothing to help with the bench protection, so I don't think there's anything to add right there. I think the one card I would consider adding over the Mew is an extra Water Energy, just for consistency purposes. Getting energy on turn 1 is obviously really good. Getting that attachment, having that 1 extra energy just increases your chances just a tiny little tidbit, frees up a little bit of your buckets for later stages of the game. So that's definitely something I would consider. And then obviously Reset Stamp is Disruption, right? Reset Stamp is a disruption card. It attacks your opponent's hand. There's nothing quite similar to that just yet. So since Reset Stamp equals Disruption, and obviously this deck wants to disrupt, I was thinking of adding a 3rd Path to a Peak, which is a disruptive card, right? And an extra Marnie, which not only helps with the consistency of the deck overall, just like the bonus Water Energy, but it also helps with this disruption, right? That's what we're aiming for. Obviously, there's no card for card replacement. I feel like that's something that I get asked a lot, like what would you replace with this card? What would you replace with, like Gengar Mimikyu, for example, with Shadow Rider? Well, there's no like card for card replacement, you know, so you definitely have to be creative and imagine, okay, what role is Gengar Mimikyu fulfilling? It's an attacker to bypass a Macenta. It gives you an extra turn. So there's plenty of things to consider. And pardon me, I'm still coughing 3 weeks later. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It's definitely not COVID. But I can't shake this freaking cough. Anyways, we'll only be playing post-rotation from now on. I think what I'll be doing is taking a look at some of the Pog decks as well. As like going down from the standings and then seeing what we can do with those. Obviously the second place deck, which was a dark Mew3 box, there's no way to make that good or legal, I guess, for the next format, because obviously there's no more tag teams. Alright, so I actually have a chance to attack this turn, so I'm gonna take that chance right here. I'm gonna go ahead and quick ball for a Sobble. And then I'm gonna go ahead and Melanie onto the Suicune. And I do find the energy, which is nice. Let's draw a card with Fleet-Footed. We get another quick ball. So if I'm assuming, definitely want to use a quick ball to do a little bit more damage. If I'm assuming that next turn I'm gonna play Professor's Research, I definitely don't want this second Intelli, right? And I'll just establish another Sobble. And now, because I'm up against a middle deck, obviously I'm not gonna be playing down, or I'm gonna try and avoid the Ice Rider Calyrex. Yeah, so we'll do a little bit of damage, not too bad to start us off. Sets up the potential 2-hit KO. Will punish any potential benching by my opponent. The healing will make it a little bit harder now to get the 2-shot if my opponent decides not to bench anything, which they immediately do after healing. So 170 damage means I have to do 180, obviously. And that means if I have a full bench, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the base damage, that's 160. So I would need them to bench another Pokemon, right? And I would need to fill out my own bench, which seems like they will smartly not be doing that. They draw 3 Herbaloons of the Marnie. That definitely deserves a surprised face. They do get an attachment of Intrepid, which seems fair, right? Definitely seems fair based off the fact that they didn't get a manual attachment. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna bench an Ice Rider. Sure, they can one-shot it, but as long as I don't evolve, I don't gift them the 3 prize cards. Now with this, I really like the Tool Scrapper on both of the stations. I don't care much for it on the Bronzong. What I'm thinking is, I definitely want to get an attachment here. So I'm gonna get 1. I'm gonna establish another Sobble, and then I'm just gonna use this instance to establish 1 Drizzle, grab a bucket, and get myself an attachment. Something I've noticed is a lot of players would go double evolve the Sobbles, right? So that you have potential double Intelli next turn. But realistically, I don't need that just yet. I'm doing enough damage at the moment. I have access to 1 Intellion if I need to. And this opens up the possibility to have more Drizzles, right? Access to more Drizzles. And that's obviously always useful. My opponent will be able to heal most of the damage that that they did, that I did deal with Suicune, but that's okay. At this point, it'd be nice, and I would like to assume that most players will be playing post-rotation, and the fact that my opponent is not playing the ability Bronzer does indicate that it's very likely that they're playing a post-rotation list rather than a suboptimal list, right? Alright. So they will move all the energy around. We do see that it is a Duraludon VMAX deck, so pretty interesting. Pretty important to see that. And it seems like they're... So this is another mistake, I feel, by my opponent. If you're gonna knock something out, like, you can always knock that out because of weakness, if my opponent had just gone after the Suicune, he would have eliminated an energy and also eliminated a Pokemon that if I attach a Cape of Toughness, he can't get a KO on. So that definitely feels like a mistake on my opponent's part. This heals 30 damage from each metal Pokemon. So I will be evolving. I will be attaching. Let's use Fleet-Footed. I'm filling the path to the peak here with this Drizzle to deny the healing. Right? And then we'll just go ahead and Marnie. So we trade 2 for 2. My board position seems way better than my opponent's. Way better. Another path to the peak. And quick shooting. And then just go ahead and Blizzard Rondo. Pardon my coughing. I don't know what's wrong, and it's worse today. It was getting like it was almost completely gone, and today it seems like it's back in full force. I don't understand what's going on. All right. And there we go. Yeah, so my opponent was definitely going to struggle from here on out. I mean, they did have access to Metal Saucers, and I have before used Marnie to give my opponent 3 Metal Saucers, right? So that was definitely a possibility, but I'm glad that was not the case. All right. So let's find one more game. You know, my throat's a little sore, so play one more game. Talked about PogChamp. There was a little controversy over the tournament, which is to be expected with such big tournaments, such high stakes, such prestige, I guess. Because even though it isn't official, it definitely feels with how they have like the pot day 1, pot day 2, they had over almost 750 players in each, I believe. So if you combine them, they are the biggest tournament so far, the biggest online tournament so far, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think. I'm not sure. But anyways, seems like it was a very, overall, a positive tournament, right? Which, with its mishaps, just like most tournaments end up having. Alright, so pretty good hand. I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty good hand. To the point where I would even consider not taking the mulligans. Alright, so Path to the Peak will be very useful here to shut off Whimsicott GX's ability. Obviously my opponent's deck is not a post-rotation deck, but that is completely okay. Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and quick ball for another Sobble seems alright. No ability, so Hooba is obviously not a threat. And we'll go ahead and pass. We'll save our Path to the Peaks for whenever my opponent plays or has a Whimsicott in play, or I have to discard it, right, with Research. That is also a possibility. We get Marnied. We have a ton of outs to this Marnie, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us in the butt. And it does. It actually did end up biting me in the butt. Yeah, totally. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll thin the deck as much as I can, I guess. So despite having Research, Melanie, Marty, that's how many? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, plus 6, 25 outs, right, to having a decent hand, to like just being able to attack, you know, that would have been good enough. With Ice Rider, any energy would have been fine, the bucket or any drizzles, right? But Fortunately, not quite the case. So it gives my opponent time to establish a setup. Does discard 2 triple accelerations. That will majorly affect my opponent's damage output over the course of the game. And not quite. Not quite. Seems like we're gonna 4-hit KO the Hoopa. Might have to end up benching Suicune next turn to draw an extra card. Yikes. Big yikes right here. Big yikes. Yeah, my opponent having so much time because I'm applying literally 0 pressure to them. Oh, okay, they played the stadium. That was played this turn, right? Yeah. I was like, there's no way I missed that, right? Oh, they just got rid of it. Nice. Well, no, actually the opposite of nice. That is literally the opposite of nice. And the boss? Oh my gosh. Well, things are not looking great. 25 cards, right? 25 cards. Now it's less. Now it's definitely less. Jeez. Now it absolutely is less cards. Okay, Drizzle into Marnie. Nope. 3 turns of useless top decks. I feel like I'm about to be super dead. Super dead. Oh my gosh. I mean, wow, they commit both triples. Okay, so they're out of triples. They will get the KO, sure, but they are out of triples. We'll go after... Oh, my Suicune, okay. So they read my plan to draw an extra card. They actually read through my plan to draw an extra card. Okay, so can I top deck anything? Please? There we go. Jeez. So I reckon I should just Melanie here, right? I should absolutely Melanie. It guarantees the energy, guarantees that I draw a few extra cards. Because if I Marnie and I whiff the energy, I'm gonna be so mad. And 4 cards versus 6, like, I don't fear too much at this point after I take this knockout. So definitely gonna evolve, and then I will definitely... Okay, so now I'm gonna go for double Drizzle in order to get an energy attachment going and guarantee myself the Shady Dealings in Tillian. Well, yeah. Get myself the Shady Dealings in Tillian and have the potential for double quick shooting next turn to finish off that Hoopa, get an extra prize that way, get rid of the potential Doll if I need to, so... okay, so my last incense is now gone, so I'll get the research, because I drew all 3 of them apparently. Go ahead and attach to the active, go ahead and play the path to the peak. Go ahead and bench the Suicune, nah. Go ahead and max lance. 250, and bye-bye Whimsicott, no flips for you. Get out of here, Whimsicott. The game should have been over a long time ago, but hey. What can you do, you know? What can you do? Right, we see Ordinary Rod. My opponent did fail a Cherish Ball, so that could mean that my opponent prized all their Whimsicotts. Unlikely, but possible, right? Now Hoopa is doing a decent amount of damage. Okay, they already had a Whimsicott in their hand, so that's probably why they failed the Church Ball. Put back the Kononim. Attaches to the active, okay. I mean, that... Well, I guess it's the recycle, so it's fine. Okay, so this turn... I should just go after the Porygon? Right? Just go boss, KO Porygon? That seems reasonable. Because then nothing else is a threat, right? Nothing else will ever be a threat ever again. And then... yeah. Go ahead and ride on the High King, don't need to discard energy. Their maximum damage is now 90 with Evil Admonition, which is perfectly fine. That dude doesn't help me get the quick shooting dude, so it's not ideal. It does get me Melanie, however, so I don't have to worry about not having enough energy. So I'm not even doing the mat, not even bothering to do the mats. 90 doesn't KO me next turn, so I can get rid of these. These cards are definitely not useful anymore to me. I mean, should I just do this? I am doing 160, right? So I can't just do this and go, don't need to discard my energies, and then that's the game. Everything just goes down. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, promotes a Whimsicott for potential flips. But once Porygon Seed's gone, like, even if I didn't have Path to a Peak, my opponent doing 40 damage and like getting enough prize cards that way is just not going to happen, you know? So GG. Simple, straightforward, and we can see VMAX is completely outmaneuvering a regular GX, right? Even if like tag teams have a difficult time coping with VMAXs, GXs are just, unfortunately, on a whole other level, like way below. Alright, so there you have it, the post-rotation quick changes Ice Rider list, or Suicune V Ice Rider list from the POC tournament. Obviously this deck just won a huge tournament, and it's definitely a very viable and very competitive deck for post-rotation, so I definitely encourage you to try it out. It's very versatile, has a ton of options. I love the 2-2 split of the Intelligence. I think that's my favorite way to run it at the moment. And so, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.